Yo, what's going on, PV Nation? It's your boy Lionel, class of 2009, back with another episode of PV versus everybody, and super excited. Hey, man, I know we get a late start this evening, but had to come back with the goods, even in the nighttime. You feel me? And we got an awesome show, man. We got an awesome show today. Got some topics we want to get to, man. Talk about this recap from this last week and last weekend. Got some ups, got some downs, and all around, man. When you talk about, what's happening and what's transpired with PV Nation, what's going on. Zay in the building, you know what I'm saying? Shout outs to all y'all checking in for PV Nation, you know what I'm saying? Again, getting that late start in, but listen, we're gonna come through. We got a lot to talk about, man. We got a lot to talk about, right? But we're gonna keep it condensed. We're gonna get it in a short nature. Not gonna take too much of your time this evening, but definitely have to come back, right, and talk about what's good with that PV Nation. You got a couple things to talk about, right? You know what I'm saying? We kind of in the HBCU spear from this past week. You know what I'm saying? Videos dropping, teasers dropping everywhere. We got baseball team going crazy. Softball out there getting it in, roughing it up in the out of conference. So we got a lot of stuff to talk about, right? Obviously, you know what I'm saying? We made the news, made ESPN as well. Not such a great thing this past weekend, but a lot of things to talk about. Before we get into it, first and foremost, man, I want to remind everybody, listen, if you're not connected with us over on Twitter, make sure you're connected with us on X, man. PV_versus_. Everybody, go ahead and get locked in, get checked in. And listen, I'm kind of not happy, you know what I'm saying, because I messed up my live stream. I actually went live on the wrong live, you know what I'm saying, on the wrong video. So you know what I'm saying, looks like I'm gonna have to, you know what I'm saying, re paste that upcoming live for Coach Anthony Weeden, man. Super excited, man, about him coming through. I know you guys gonna enjoy that episode, but that's gonna be next week, March 5th. So make sure you're locked in for Tuesday. Again, like and subscribe to the video, man. Listen, the goal is 500 subs by the summertime. And like I keep saying, we got something special when we get to that 500 sub number, man. So make sure you guys are locked in with us. But first and foremost, man, let's get into what we're going to be talking about today, man. We got 6 quick segments, man. We're going to run through. First and foremost, obviously got the men's and women's basketball review. We got softball, who had 6 games this past week from this weekend at the HCU tournament, and also took out Tarleton State in Stephenville, 2 games, a doubleheader on Tuesday. Then we had a teaser video that dropped, you know what I'm saying, had a little, you know what I'm saying, made a little noise when it dropped earlier this week. So we're going to talk a little about that. Also, the Andre Dawson Classic. Listen, the men's baseball team is continuing to go out and put in that work. So we're going to talk a little about that. And then, listen, you know, want to have a little discussion, just talk about this men's basketball program right now and kind of trajectory, where we at, where we going. Because right now, man, it looks like we just been kind of trending in the wrong direction. And so we want to talk a little bit about that, man. So again, for you guys who are interested in jumping on and joining the show, the call-in number is below. If you see it right there, 346-248-7799. Man, I got everything loaded for you to come on, jump in. If you want to come and be a part of the show this evening, call in and share your thoughts. Again, that's 346-248-7799. If you want to go ahead and call in. So make sure you go ahead and get that going. I'm gonna have that ticker at the bottom of the screen so you guys can go ahead and see that and call in whenever you're ready. So first and foremost, man, before we, you know what I'm saying, get too deep, I want to remind you guys, listen, 2024 is coming. And now, listen, we got Coach Anthony Weeden coming and bringing that chaos offense. You know what I'm saying? Former SWAC champion, All-American. You know what I mean? We just have the signees come in. You know, we bring some guys in that's ready to go get it. Championship caliber guys on the offensive line. This year is shaping up to be a great year for PV football, right? And if you ain't got your season tickets, you better hurry up and get them. And especially right now, because listen, it looked like it's golf season. You feel me? And we're not playing. So we just had the university, the athletic department, drop a video earlier today too. So for all y'all who maybe didn't see the video, I'm gonna go ahead and play that video, right? So you guys can see, and so you guys can know, like, listen, we starting this campaign to get these season tickets sold. Like we said, right? The goal is 2,000 season tickets, right? 2,000 season tickets. And right now in section 107, the hypest section, right, in the whole stadium, it's only 32 seats left, right? So if you ain't got your seats, right, you got a small window of opportunity to get in the best section available. But let me go and play this video, man, so you guys can see what they got popping.
So, Coach,
what's up, baby? Go.
Hey, I was checking out this 2024 home schedule. Looking good, man. This is definitely get fans in the stands.
Absolutely. We need fans in the stands, right? To come support our 23 Western Division champions. All right, here. This one we're going to start it right here. August 31st, we got Texas Southern. You guys know that's going to be a huge game, big-time game. We need everybody out there. Then we jump down to September 21st against Southern. Big rival game. We play them at home. We got them last year. We'll get them again this year. Then we jump down to October 9th. We got a bye. Then we come to October 26th. We got Texas Commerce for homecoming. We know how we do at homecoming. We need you out there. Go back down. We jump down to November 9th. We got Florida A&M. Played them twice last year, all right? Now we got them first this year. Then we go to November 16th. We finish up with Alcorn.
That's a heck of a season. You know, for me, I got to tell you what time it is.
What time is it?
It's time for PV Nation to buy their home season tickets right now, today. Go to pvpanthers.com and buy your season tickets today. Go Panthers.
Listen. I'm just excited first and foremost that they done put a video out, period, right? You know what I'm saying? Because I don't know about you, but I don't really remember the university really putting in no effort and energy to get season tickets sold before, right? Unless we talking about the first season that the university got the stadium built, right? Panther Stadium was built, you know what I'm saying? Talking about 7 seasons ago. I don't remember any energy going into getting these season tickets sold. So the first, the reality is I'm happy that they even put something now, right? You know what I'm saying? Yeah, listen, I'm with Zay. I mean, it's all right. It wasn't great. You know what I'm saying? Ain't a great video, but the fact that we got some, you know what I mean? We got movement. And they always said, right? It's easier to get things done once the train is moving. All right. Once you moving in a direction, like, all right, the ball is rolling. Now we can start to pick up some momentum. So the fact that I saw a graphic created that they say, hey, listen, 2024 season tickets are for sale. Hey, listen, that we got some momentum. The fact that now we got a video created that they like, hey, listen, I'm trying to remind you to get your season tickets, right? I mean, AD Golf in the video, Coach Bubba in the video. I'm happy for the momentum, okay? I'm with Zay, not necessarily, hey, I feel you, right? Not necessarily the production value, but the momentum, right? I'm happy that we got some momentum in the fact that they putting something out. So for that, I'm like, all right, cool. I appreciate the effort. Let's keep the effort going, right? And let's get this. That's really start to boom up this campaign. And I'm with you, like Zay. Like I feel you when you say the same production value we saw with the Operation 1876. We're gonna talk about a little later, right? The same thing we saw with that production value is the same thing we need when we talk about what's going on now with the season tickets, the season ticket holders. I mean, really putting out there that, hey, listen, first and foremost, what is available, right? What do you get as a part of these packages, right? Talk about the game day experience and why people want to be there. And let's also get out into the community, right? Get out into the community and invite individuals, right? Get out to different groups of people, different organizations, invite them out and say, hey, man, this is what game day is going to look like here in Prairie View, on the Hill, right? In Panther Stadium. So, again, I'm happy that I'm seeing something, that I'm seeing some momentum. Now, if we can start really rolling the ball down the hill and getting it going, it's going to be great. And I think one thing that'll help, one thing that can, because you're dealing with black people. You're dealing with black people. And, I don't know about y'all and y'all grandmothers, y'all grandfathers, right? But sometimes you need that old time religion. You need that old time religion. And so we know we got Texas Southern, we got Texas A&M Commerce, we got Florida A&M, Alcorn on it. We know who we got, but sometimes we got to be reminded. It got to be in front of you all the time, every day, right? All the time and every day, it got to be in front of you. And so I think we need that old time accountability. Old time accountability. We need, we had them old churches, right? They always had a building fund, them old Baptist churches, right? You got that wood placard up, right? You know what I mean? And it's like, hey, listen, how many people was at church last week? How much money we done put into the building fund from this past? I think we need an accountability ticket fund. I think this is what PV Nation needs, right? And the first thing gonna go up there, the first thing is gonna be how many season tickets we done sold, right? Actually, what needs to go up top actually needs to be, what is the goal for 2024? At the top, right? They say, hey, this is how much we need to raise for this building fund, right? This is how much we need to bring in. At the top, we need to just have season ticket goal for 2024. And it's just 2,000 tickets, just plastered at there, right? 2,000 season tickets on that placard, right? This is what we need up. We need to just blast this all over PV Nation. That big old wooden board, season tickets for the goal. And how many have we sold to date? We need to just put this in front of the people, right? Not only that, right? We need to have how many people purchased last week. You know, you come in, they say, listen, what is our goal monthly for our budget? And then they say, listen, how much tithes did we bring in? Listen, how much tithes and offering came in? You know what? We need to say how many season tickets were purchased last week. Because we want to see, are we moving toward our number? Or are we stagnant? We need to know that, right? Not only that, though, we need to know what we did last year. We need to know, hey, listen, what was our average attendance in 2023? You just need to blast that up, right? You just need to put right in front of the people, right in front of your alum, all of them in Houston, all of them in Dallas, all around, running around, crawling around all the metroplexes, right? It's like, what was the average attendance last year in 2023? But not only on it, you know, we need to have on that building fund, that ticket fund board, right? For our old time accountability, we need to have number of visitation. You know, if you got a pastor that doesn't visit, you might not have a real pastor. Let me tell you, you might not have you don't got that old time religion, okay? That old time pastors who come to the house and knock on your door and say, I ain't seen you in a week. I ain't see you at church last week, right? They say, hey, man, you've been gone for a month. What's been up with you? I need to get you back in the house of God, right? You need that old time religion. We need that old time accountability. Number of visitations. How many organizations have we gone to this past month? How many churches have we visited and said, listen, we got Prairie View A&M over here. This would be a great place to bring your congregation, right? How many ISDs and schools have we gone to? We need to have the number of visitations on that board, right? Not only that, you know what else we need on that board? We need the record attendance, right? What is our record, right? We know what our average attendance is, but what is the most people we've gotten into the stadium before? Because we need that up there, because we need to know the number that we're trying to beat. We need to know the number that we're trying to reach and that we're trying to overtake this year in 2024. Was that 14,898? Was it 15,102? Was it 13,767? I don't know what the number is, but whatever that number is, it needs to be on that board and it needs to be in front of everybody, all the PV Nation, so we can hold all of PV Nation accountable. We're talking about that old time accountability, right? And then lastly, we need the record season ticket holders. This number needs to be in front of us. We need to know, because listen, the goal is 2,000, but we don't even know if that's the record. We don't even know if in year one at Panther Stadium, we have 5,000 season ticket holders. We don't know the number because it never was put in front of us. So we think in 2,000 is a great goal when that is less than half of what we did in the first year. Well, then 2,000 is not a great goal then. We need a bigger goal. We need to know that. And so I think PV, we need to just go ahead and just go. Listen, there's a whole bunch of defunct Baptist churches all over the nation right now. We can just go and grab all of these boards and we just put it together. Just create one big board. Maybe put it up on University Drive. So when you drive down University Drive, everybody that comes to PV for homecoming, everybody that comes to PV for anything that they're doing, they'll see and say, oh, look at this. Last year, our average attendance was that number. Looking in the stadium right now, we're not reaching that. We're looking and say, oh, the season ticket code, the goal is 2,000, and we have only sold 173 to date. We are low. We need to get to work. Matter of fact, we got 173. The goal is 2,000, and we've only done 3 visitations since January 1st. Oh, this is unacceptable. We need that old time accountability. So listen, I don't know if you guys are feeling me, but I think we need that old time accountability. I think we need to create that ticket fund board and just place it right. Place it everywhere, all around PV Nation, all the alumni groups, put in the Panther Backers clubs, right? All of the meetings, every meeting that we have, we just put it up and just say, okay, we're going to pull up that old time accountability board and let y'all know where we at and where we stand. So listen, I don't work for the athletic department, but somebody out there do. So maybe y'all can pitch this to them, because listen, I know there's a Baptist church right now they'll be willing to sell us their board. They done moved to all these digital signs outside, right? They don't believe in that old time accountability no more, but we still do here at PV versus everybody. All right, we still believe in that old time accountability. So listen. We're not open. Man. Said of it, man, I appreciate you. Listen, it takes time to put these things together. So I appreciate you just coming on, you know what I'm saying, checking out the video. Hey, man, I'm trying to listen. We need that old time accountability. That old time accountability. Again, remind y'all, man, listen, y'all see the number scrolling on the screen. If you yourself maybe know of a place we can get one of these old time accountability boards, these building fund boards, to make sure you call in 346-248-7799. You know what I'm saying, and give your thoughts. And so with that said, you know, I want to move on to our next topic, right, of the evening, because, you know, I think it's really, really interesting. I think it's really, really interesting of what we saw when you talk about us having to deal with and having to hear. You know, one thing I said on Twitter the other day was, listen, if you talking about media teams and you're not talking about the PV football media team, then we really can't have a conversation, right? Because these guys and young ladies have been doing an excellent job, and they've been really out here completely killing it when you're talking about what they've been doing and what they've been putting out. And the reality is, look, when we talking about media teams, the truth is we talking apples and oranges. All right. We really talking apples and oranges. You know what I'm saying? Let me blow myself up for a second. We're really talking apples and oranges. And it ain't nobody else's fault, right? We can't blame nobody else but us. But when you talk about some of these other schools, man, they got full-time media personnel. They got heads of content creation. Some schools just for the football team, right? We're not even talking about the individuals that's over the personnel that's over content for the whole athletic department. That's a completely different thing. And so we need to be able to compare apples and apples. Like, we need to get to the point where, like, we have a head just over media, right? Because listen, this is the world we live in 2024. So the reality is, right, we have these young ladies, these young gentlemen who putting in the work, and the reality is they're putting in the work, and many of them ain't even on payroll, right? So when we see the content they're putting out, we see the work they're doing. Listen, first of all, it's appreciated. We applaud y'all, but then this ain't just no regular degular, right? They are really up in the game and up in their standard. And so the last time I checked, right before coming on, like, listen, you're talking about 88,000 views. Like, you're getting in front, you're putting your brand as PV Nation in front of literally thousands of people. Thousands of people. Many of these people who may not even ever have heard of Prairie View A&M University. And so listen, it pays for what they're doing is helping to market your complete, not just your program. You're talking about your school, your university, right? And so they're putting in work. And so I want you guys to just check out this video. I know many of y'all probably saw it, right? But I got some thoughts of what I want to share to y'all, right? Because I've been hearing the noise and the chatter, and the reality is, right, I have yet to see when you're talking about SWAC schedule drops, and this is the promo, right? You know what I'm saying? The drop is going to be March 1st. But when you talk about SWAC schedule drops, there's nobody who has had a drop that's been put in this package like this. FAMU, their drop, they've created some great content, but their schedule drop, that wasn't it. Alabama State, the graphic was cool, but the video, that wasn't it, right? Now, Grambling, Jackson State, I give it to them. I applaud them because, listen, first and foremost, I think every SWAC school needs to do a video schedule drop. I've been saying that. Y'all been hearing me say that on this channel for a minute. You feel me? So I think that's just what needs to be it. But Grambling, I love Grambling's, right? Their style, right? Going into school, getting the kids involved. That was dope, right? Being the first to drop it too. So listen, I got to get in their props. Then when you talk about Jackson State, the visuals and the way the video came together was good, but it was no storyline, right? It's just a bunch of flyovers over the vet and over some of the other places and other towns, right? They're gonna be playing games this year, so nothing crazy, right? And to be honest, if you don't know the story behind, Never Scared, then you don't even get in the first place, right? Because you don't even know these guys. You know what I'm saying? Now I'm from North Louisiana, so I understand the story behind everything, right? But if you didn't watch the behind the scenes or anything like that, it's just two guys in the front talking with Jackson State gear on. You have no idea, that it don't connect at all for you, right? But again, hey, that's for the Mississippi people, right? So when you talk about swag schedule drops, there has been no other drop that's been as dope as what PV football media team just put out this week. And I can't wait for the final drop on March 1st. But if you talking about what we've seen so far, ain't nobody touching them. Ain't nobody touching them. And listen, that's without full-time media personnel. So anyway, I'm gonna go and drop this, man. Y'all check it out. Let me know y'all. Nice to meet you.
Gentlemen, took y'all long enough. It's that time of the year again. We're ready to start our mission, Operation 1876.
Come on, man. That's a fire promo. That's a fire drop. You know what I'm saying? And it's not. I'm not just saying this because it's Prairie View that dropped it. It's just a fire drop. Period. The storyline that's there. And listen, you can take the storyline in so many different places, in so many different ways, but that itself shows you that it's the best drop, because there's no conversation about, well, what could Graham have done, right? They met with the kids there, right? They colored they all drew like the different schools they're going to be playing on whatever dates they plan them. Jackson did the flyovers, right? There's nothing else to that, right? And again, this is not taking shots at Graham or Jackson or FAMU or whatever, right? Because at the end of the day, right, there's other stuff that they've done that's on point and that's fire, right? And that, like, listen, man, yeah, we need to catch up with that. But I'm talking about schedule drop video. That's what we're talking about right now, right? There's nothing else to that. With this, I mean, this gives you a base to where literally you can take this and go so many ways. If they wanted to turn this into a series, they could. You can't turn what Graham did into no series. You can't turn what Jackson did into no series. I mean, FAM and Alabama State can't turn into no series. This here has so much potential, right? And so you can say, man, I would love to have seen this. I would have loved for them to bring out this. But the reality is, the reason there's so much conversation around it, because it was a fire drop. That's the reality, right? So with that being said, man, you know what I mean? Just want to let you know what's going on, Rod. Appreciate you for jumping in. You know what I'm saying? What's going on with you this evening? Happy for y'all coming through. And yeah, man, Isaiah says he's excited about seeing how they expand this concept. And like I say, man, I don't know how they're gonna end it, right? I'm excited to see it on this Friday. See what they do with that. But at the end of the day, like, even off of what they've done so far, like I say, is to me, it's been the best so far I've seen. And if they decide to just close it off, if they decide to keep this train going right and going to create other content. Another thing, listen, the fact that they're individuals, because there's individuals, they had Jaden Johnson, right? Chris Herron, CJ Presley, right? Those are the three guys that you saw in the video. And the fact that other people don't know them, I mean, okay, so, right? Because the video was for us. Video for PV Nation. The video's not for anybody else, right? In the same way that Jackson's video for Jackson and for Mississippi. That's who it's for. Because like I said, you know what I'm saying? That's who that's for. If you don't know those artists, they don't move you, right? So this was for Panther Nation. It's for PV Nation, right? And so they did their thing, man, and made us aware. So let's get into it, man. We got a couple reviews want to do as we get into it. And, we're going to get into our last thing, man. I want you guys, again, right, if you guys want to call in 346-248-7799, we're going to close it off talking about these men's basketball decline. So I definitely want to hear your comments and your thoughts, man. So definitely, hit me up, call in. So let's talk first and foremost about the women's softball team. So I had a couple games this past weekend. It was at Houston Christian, faced off against Kansas City College. 3 games against Kansas City College, and they played 1 game against Houston Christian. And so the first game they played, lost 4-3. Really good game, right? Took it deep into the 6th inning. Of course, gave up a run in the last inning, and of course lost that game to Kansas City College University. I'm sorry. And then the second game obviously was the 10-0 game. So really in that game, man, we really couldn't do anything. I mean, the Kansas City bats really just opened up. And just, you know what I'm saying, just, hey, listen, they just bust open like, you know, it is what it is, right? You know what I'm saying? You got to take that L and just keep it moving, right? So that those 2 games were on Friday, I believe, right? 10-0 on that score. Then on the next day, first game against Houston Christian, that game was a loss for us, 6-0. Lady Panthers dropped that game. And then the last game of that tournament was a 12-6 loss to Kansas City University as well. And so again, listen, you know, the one thing I love though is that they're stepping out and out of conference and playing these teams, right? Going out and getting in these tournaments, right, to get those reps in. Because I know when I talk with Coach Bland, when I talk to Coach Lane, he's always just like, listen, you know, this team is a team that always is continually, right, started revving up as we get later on into the season, right, and start to pick up momentum, right. Start to learn how we want them to play. But at the end of the day, what I do love is that with all of the girls on the team, you know, they know how to play the game all the way around, right? Being able to, hey, you know what I'm saying, take the sacrifice blunt and move runners over. You know, the team all throughout, right, knows how to play the game. And so we got, you know, power hitters. We got ladies who can get on base, right? We got ladies who can take bases. So I mean, all over, I still think this team has a great shot, right? It has the personnel that we need, especially to go deep in the SWAC and get back to the NCAA regionals. And again, the goal this year that they let us know earlier in the year is like, hey, listen, we want to get to the regionals, want to win SWAC, get to the regionals, and the goal is to win a game, to take a game at regionals. And so I still think that this team has that ability. And all of these games, you know, early in the season, I think is going to help that. They also had 2 games this Tuesday, yesterday, against Tarleton State. So the first game was a 10-2 loss. So again, that was we got the 8-run rule on us in the bottom of the 5th. So after 5 innings, if you're up by 8, then, you know, that closes the game out. So that one was really tough. The first game coming out. Now the second game, and both of these games was actually on the channel, right? We live streamed both of them through ESPN Plus. So if you guys want to go back and check them out, you guys can see the second game was a really close game. We were up 6-3 in the 5th inning, right? Gave up 3 runs in the 5th inning, I believe, right? They came back and tied the game at 6-6, and then in the bottom of the 7th, gave up that 1 run, right, in order to take that loss. And Raina actually, she pitched the whole game for us, and so she did a great job throughout the game. Obviously, gave up 10 hits. As you see, though, we had 8 hits that game. The issue was the 3 errors, obviously, right? The 3 errors were big, and allowing us, right, to lose that game. But again, great competition. You know, it gives us a chance to really be able to be in a game with these teams that are in different Division I competition, right? And listen, this is a game that you're going to remember later on the season. We say, hey, listen, we remember how we let one game and we let it slip away. And so learning those lessons, I was going to help later on in the season when you're talking about the Lady Panthers being able to get it done and win that 3rd SWAC championship in a row. So keeping it moving, talking about the Andre Dawson Classic. This one was big, it's huge. Obviously, yesterday, the men's team faced off against Texas State. That was a 23-2 loss, right? So definitely, definitely gave up a lot of runs to Texas State. So very similar to the game we had against U of H last week. But this past weekend, we had a chance to play against, HBCU competition, North Carolina A&T, FAMU, and Alabama State, which, hey, FAMU and Alabama State, when you talk about teams in the SWAC that have a chance to win this conference this year, we've gone up against the majority of them so far, and we've fared very well in being able to get the win. And so first and foremost, obviously, going up against North Carolina A&T, coming out with the 7-5 victory. And as you see, man, big day for the Panthers bats, man. 15 hits in this game. Now, of course, the 2 errors from North Carolina A&T, and we also had 3 errors this game, so 5 errors total. So when we talk about fielding in this game from both teams, obviously that didn't go as well as either team wanted. But at the end of the day, being able to come out with the win is always big, and that's one thing that we're seeing from this team early on is that this team is a team that is figuring out ways to win games, and that's huge, man. That's huge. So super, super excited for that win they got on Friday. Then moving into Saturday, played Florida A&M. Game was close all the way through. We were up 3-2, I believe, in the fifth inning. Then went on and closed the game out with 2 more runs, right? 5-4. And so as you look, right, totally different game when you talk about from a standpoint of what both teams were able to do, right, from the batting box, right? Because only 6 hits from us, 4 hits Florida A&M. But at the end of the day, being able to squeak out and get the win. And so obviously this was more of a pitching duel during this game. And one thing I'm loving to see, right, is, Coach Riggins going deep into the rotation, especially in some of these games during the middle of the week, especially in the third game of both classics, having multiple pitchers that you're able to kind of figure out and see, man, where your strength lies when you talk about your bullpen too. I think that's going to be huge, obviously, toward the end of the year when we get back into SWAC play, right? Because you really gotta find, man, who's got that third pitcher going to be, right? And then also be able to know, like, hey, man, who you got in the bullpen and who you can bring in at certain spots. And so I love my man Mendoza, man, has been killing it. Both outings I've seen him right at the Andre Dawson Classic and also at the Cactus Jack Classic. And so he's a guy who definitely I'm excited to see them lean on, especially when you talk about coming in spots to close games out. He's fared very well. So talking about the last game, right? Obviously, this was one that was great. If you got a chance to watch it, it was streamed on MLB.com. And man, it's a game that we was down big in, right? I believe we was down 10-5 at one time in the 5th inning, right? Ended up putting up 3 runs, I believe, in the 7th, getting another 2 runs in the 8th inning, right, to tie it up, and then able to come out with a 13-12 win in extra innings. And obviously, you see hit total 16 hits for Alabama State, 15 hits from us. I mean, ugly day and on the ground, right? When we talk about fielding, 4 errors total for each team, 8 errors altogether in the game. So obviously, you never want to see that. But what you do want to see is that you come out with more runs than the other team, right? And so that was really, really big. We got 2 insurance runs in that extra inning, right, to go up 13-11, and was able to get out of that last inning, only giving up 1 run. So that insurance run was obviously huge for us, right? And so, man, I'm super excited, man, to see the guys. Weiss is definitely in that second spot, has been killing it, man. I believe he's battling somewhere close to 400 on the year right now. Michael Smith leading off for us has really been killing it. It was major. Lee Allen also had a great tournament at the Andre Dawson Classic in Florida. So, and Tyron Norris as well. So, I mean, we're talking about being able to come together, right, and for your bats to be able to awaken up like this. It's super exciting. So this weekend, they're going to be taking on McNeese State. And so I'm really excited to see again for them to be able to step out of conference and now be able to step out of conference on the weekend. Because obviously, one thing we see during the week, obviously, is that, we're using a lot of different pitchers during the week, right? And I know Coach Riggins is really trying to find out who that other guy is going to be. And so I'm super excited to see, us having, guys like Michael Dews be able to come step out and pitch against McNeese State, right? Because this is a guy who we didn't get to see, right? When you talk about your 1 and your 2 starter, these are not guys you're going to see normally during the week. So now we have a chance for them to pitch on the weekend against an out-of-conference opponent, out-of-conference foe. And so I'm really super excited to see how this game goes and how it turns out, man. So hopefully it will be streaming online, maybe on ESPN Plus. And if it is, I definitely try to check in so you guys can check it out. Let's keep it going. Good evening. What's up, Boom, man? Appreciate you for jumping on. Ross says, I was thinking the same thing about the pitching. If they get that right, good things will happen this season. Yeah. So I think, man, I mean, that's the one thing right now that, we got to figure out. If we can figure out the pitching, especially when you talk about that third guy and you talk about, what you got in the bullpen. And I think the good thing is we got a lot of guys that we can go to in the bullpen. Is really just figuring out, man, who's the guy to close it down. Who's some of the guys you're going to bring in right when you need to get, 2 to 3 innings right to get to your closer. I think that's the thing that we really trying to figure out now early on. But man, it's super exciting to see how they battle, like just being able to battle. I mean, Trenton Bush, against Alabama State late in that game, man. I mean, you really saw him battle in that extra inning battle 7-8 pitches, in that at bat to be able to get a hit, that single to get on base right and start us out with some momentum, and for us ending up to get those 2 runs across. And so, seeing those things is showing like, okay, we got the personnel to get it done. When you talk about being able to, and we've shown it early in the season, obviously, being able to take on Texas Southern and win, being able to beat Grambling, being able to beat Alcorn, Florida A&M, Alabama State. Like when you talk about Florida A&M, Alabama State, I mean, these are the teams that you're going to be facing when you talk about teams that have the ability to win the SWAC. And so it shows us that we are in that conversation. And I mean, if you wasn't aware, right, we were the preseason ranked number 2 to finish second in the West, right, behind Grambling. But at the end of the day, it shows us that, that is a place where we should have been ranked, and we should be in that conversation. And so, yeah, also, if you guys didn't know, Michael Dews and Garrison Weiss, right, were also named second team all SWAC at the beginning of the year, right? So if you wasn't aware, and so I'm super excited to see Dews, right, this weekend against McNeese State. That's really he's one guy who I really want to see. Okay, let me see him against some competition out of conference as well. I think it's going to be a good battle for him. So let's keep it going, man. And before we get into the women's and the men's recap real quick, right? We're gonna run through this because I don't want to keep you guys too much longer. I know we started late this evening, it's 10 o'clock. But again, I want to remind you guys, hey, listen, if you want to jump on, man, listen, we have a call-in number 346-248-7799. That's 346-248-7799. If you want to call in and let me know your thoughts about anything that you're hearing, then hey, feel free. So let's get into it, man. A women's team improved to 11-14, 7-8 on the season. 2 big wins, 2 huge wins for them this past weekend, man. And let me pull up the stats for you guys, because the first game against UAPB, I wasn't able to watch that game myself. So let me pull up the stats for that so I can get you guys that real quick. All right. But as you see, right, in the final score was 66-57. And if you wasn't aware, right, obviously UAPB was without a couple players because they had the issue with the fight from the weekend before. I believe the game was against Alabama A&M that they dropped. And, they listened. They was rumbling and tumbling on the bench, on the sideline, right? So obviously, the team suspended a couple players because of that. But at the end of the day, listen, you got to just play who in front of you. And so, it gave us a chance to go in and get a win against a team that had really handled us very, very well earlier in the season. So super excited for them being able to go in and get the win. As you see, quarter to quarter, right? First quarter, 13-13. The second quarter, we won by 8. Lost the third quarter by 6, which the third quarter has been our worst quarter throughout the year, period, from the women's side of things. And able to win the fourth quarter by 7. We talk about who was able to put in work. It was exciting for me to see somebody else pop up off the screen. And so this game, that was Kyla Smith. Only one person in double figures, which was Kayla Smith, this game against UAPB with 20 points. She also had 2 steals. And listen, Ryan Payne has been carrying this team for weeks now, right? She's really the reason that we're even in the position that we're in, to have a shot, right, to be able to get into the tournament and then, hey, let things fall where they may. But Kayla Smith stepped up against UAPB this game, obviously with the 20 points, leading the team. And nobody else in double figures. The next The next person was Ryan Smith, who had 9 points and 3 assists. She also had 5 turnovers this past game, right? So at the end of the day, we needed all those buckets from Kayla. When you talk about rebounding, 31 rebounds for the Lady Panthers to 33 for Arkansas Pine Bluff, right? And Arkansas Pine Bluff only shot 25% from 3 of 12, right? You know what I'm saying? So they had a bad day shooting from 3 and only 59% from the free throw line, 16 of 27. So obviously, that was something that, stood out. Of course, the Lady Panthers, this game, for one of the, this is probably the first game, maybe all year, to be honest, that I can recall. And if not, it's probably going to be early on, maybe against like North American, that the Lady Panthers shot 40% from 3, 6 of 15, right? If they can shoot 40% from 3, you're talking about a change in a lot of things, right? So this was something that definitely was different, right? For them to be able to knock down, 6 threes this game. And Maya Williams knocked down, sorry, not Maya Williams, Kayla Smith knocked down 4 of those 6 threes. Jessica Saunders and Maya Monroe were both hit a 3 as well in order for them to get that 6 threes from this game. So really good, man, for the Lady Panthers. They had 42 bench points this game, which literally never happens. Like when you talk about something that never happens, that never happens, right? 42 bench points, man. And that's one thing that I've been harping on, saying that this team, they got to get some scoring from other places, right? This is the first time all conference that we've outscored the other team in bench points. And so 10-point margin there, 42 bench points for us, 32 for another team. And you talk about 11 Panthers, right? Who actually, Lady Panthers, who scored this game. So that's huge. You talk about being able to spread the ball around, get multiple people involved. And so that was a really big victory for us, knowing that we're coming off of 4 straight losses and that we got Mississippi Valley coming up after that, right? And so we keep it going. We talk about the next game, Mississippi Valley, you know what I'm saying? Getting that win 69-63. And so obviously that gave us 2 games in a row, which allowed us to be at 7-8 now. So almost at 500 with 3 games left in the season. 3 big, huge games, right? 3 huge games, especially when you talk about us making sure we secure a tournament spot and talk about seeding in the tournament. That's another huge and big thing, right? And so against Mississippi Valley, obviously came out the gate, man, started super slow. We were down 19-6 at the end of the first quarter, right? So down 13 points at the end of the first quarter, but then we start to pick up and really start putting our foot on their necks, right? I outscored them 21-12 in the second quarter, so we were only down by 4 points at halftime. Then outscored them 28-10 in the third quarter. And that really was the quarter that put the game away. It should have put the game away, right? But of course, we allowed them back in it. They outscored us 22-14 in the fourth quarter, so we end up with the 6-point win. But again, Ryan Payne, went back to her usual self. Took a day off. Big thing that I saw this game, obviously from the box score, was the fact that there were 3 Lady Panthers in double figures. Ryan Payne with 18 points and 11 rebounds, by the way, which is crazy. 18 points, 11 rebounds, 7 steals, and 4 assists. Come on. If she's not in that conversation for newcomer of the year, like, you're tripping, right? She definitely has to be in the conversation for newcomer of the year. Secondly, right, Amari Williams with another sighting, 15 points for her with 8 rebounds and 2 steals. So that's huge for her being able to come in and put that type of scoring production in. She was also 7 of 7 from the free throw line. So shooting very well from the free throw line. And then you had Jada Robertson, who had 10 points for the Lady Panthers as well. And then Desiree Lewis closed us out. Didn't have double figures, but 9 points and 5 rebounds on the day. So obviously, she contributed very, very much, to the game. And this game, super excited to also see that the Lady Panthers outscored Mississippi Valley from bench, right? And so we saw 2 games in a way in a row, right, where our bench actually stepped up and we had scoring that was spread out, right? And so we outscored Mississippi Valley 30-22 on bench points. We also out-rebounded Valley by 45 rebounds to 41 rebounds. Now, the thing that we reverted back to was we were 2 for 20 from the three-point line. 2 from 20 from the three-point line. Woo! That's crazy. That's crazy. 2 for 20. So shot 10%, right? And so that's really the thing when you talk about this Lady Panthers team, man, is we got to figure out how we can knock down threes consistently. So Kayla Williams was the one had a big game before. Obviously, she knocked down 2 of those threes. She was 2 of 11 overall, but 2 of 8 from the three-point line. And she was not feeling it this game, right? But altogether, right, we wasn't feeling it. Missed 18 threes, right? Also, we shot 69% from the free throw line. Mississippi Valley shot 64% from the free throw line, and Mississippi Valley also shot 7.7% from the three-point line. They were 1 for 13. Both teams shot under 40% from the field altogether. So just a bad shooting night, period, from both teams at the end of the day. Mississippi Valley did have 24 turnovers, though, to our 22. And then we also had 3 more steals than Mississippi Valley. So super excited that the ladies were able to get that win. We look at the SWAC standings right now. We're sitting in 7th place. We're actually tied with Florida A&M, but obviously Florida A&M, we lost the game when we went on that road trip to Florida. We dropped that second game of the road trip. The Lady Panthers did, right? And so that was a part of that 4-game losing streak. And so, we're tied with Florida A&M, but obviously they have the tiebreaker over us. But we're only, we're still in a good space. Now, Alabama A&M has been playing well, so we probably won't catch them because we have 3 games left in the season and we're down 2 games to Alabama A&M. We would need to minimally win 2, and they would have to either drop all 3 of their games, or we would have to win 3 games and they would have to drop at least 2 of those games, right? So because then we'll tie with them, right, and be able to get the 5th spot. Now, this is my thoughts on this, though. I don't want the 5th spot anyway. Like, I want the 6th or the 7th seed. Now, we still need to keep winning because we lost to Bethune-Cookman, right? So we don't have the tiebreaker over Bethune-Cookman, and we don't have the tiebreaker over Florida A&M. We don't have the tiebreaker over either of those teams. So regardless, we have to keep winning because at the end of the day, like if we tie with Florida A&M and Bethune-Cookman, we're gonna be in the 9th spot, right? And so I want to pull up the schedule real quick. Let me see if I can pull up the women's schedule real quick. And I saw Rye saying you put her for Player of the Year. I mean, I think she has a opportunity to win Newcomer of the Year. The only reason I don't think she has a chance to win Player of the Year is because of the team success, right? As we're sitting in 7th seed right now, and possibly, we can't go higher than a 6th seed. Than a 5th seed. And at the end of the day, you got Jackson killing, you got Grambling killing, right? I mean, so I just think that other players, I mean, even Grizzle from Florida A&M, she's been killing it all year. And I think her numbers look slightly better overall than Ryan Payne's. So, I think those teams have, ladies who you would lean and say, okay, because of the team success, they have a better opportunity, a better shot to be able to win it all as far as Player of the Year is concerned. Let me pull up the schedule real quick because I want to see who Florida A&M and Bethune-Cookman have during their last 3 games. So Florida A&M and Bethune both play Grambling and Southern. So that's good because obviously those are 2 games that both of those teams could possibly drop, obviously, right? So Florida A&M and Bethune have Grambling and Southern on the 2nd and 4th. And then it looks like on the last Saturday of games, Florida A&M play and Bethune play each other. So So either way it go, one of these teams is going to take at least one loss, right? Because they play each other, so that's beneficial. So like we say, really, if the Lady Panthers win out, obviously, then we in. But if they do drop one, then we know that Bethune and Florida A&M, our Florida A&M is going to drop at least one game. Now we have Texas Southern, we have Jackson State, and we have Alcorn, right? So obviously, you don't see this team in a position to do what they did last year and beat Jackson State, at home. You don't really see them doing that this year based on what you've seen so far. But you do see them having a chance to beat the Alcorn team that you've already beat before, and having a chance to close it out with another win against Texas Southern, in the Hope Arena. So, if the Lady Panthers can go 2-1, you put yourself in a really good position, right? Because you got to think that Grambling and Southern, that those teams are going to beat a Florida A&M or a Bethune at least one of those 2 times during that weekend, right? And then you also know Bethune and Florida A&M are also going to play each other, and one of them are going to lose that game. So, we're looking good to get into the SWAC tournament, right? As long as we don't collapse in the end of this year, right? In these last 3 games, we're looking good to at least get a seed. And like Boom says, man, it's going to be best for us. I completely agree, to be a 6 seed or a 7 seed. That's my thoughts too, as well, right? With the women's team. So that being said, we definitely be watching this weekend, man. And real quick, man, let's talk about men's basketball. They're 10-18, 5-10. Whoa. 5-10. Not just dropping one game, not just dropping the game against UAPB, but then dropping the game against Valley and getting put on ESPN. 0-2017, y'all. I mean, it was bad, right? So it was a really bad weekend for the men. In a weekend where you had teams fall that were ahead of you, that would have given this team a shot to be tied with those same teams and have a chance in the last 3 games to get into the SWAC tournament. But now it's basically over. Basically over for the men. I want to pull up. Let me just skip ahead, right, and get to the standings before we talk about the games real quick. When we talk about the standings for the men's side of things, we're sitting in the 10th seed, at the 10th spot right now, 2 games behind Alabama State and Alabama A&M. Now, we beat Alabama A&M early in the year. We beat Pine Bluff once and lost to them the second time. So, and I believe they have the point differential over us, right? So Alabama State has a tiebreaker over us, and Arkansas Pine Bluff has the tiebreaker over us. So the reality is, for us to have any chance, we got to go 3-0, period. And going 3-0 may not even be good enough to get in the tournament. Because even if we win 3 games, we're 8-10 if we win 3 games. But even winning those 3 games and getting to 8-10, at 8-10, you still have to jump over not just Alabama A&M, but you have to jump over either Alabama State or Pine Bluff, who at the end of the day, like, you lost to those teams, right? And so we really shot ourselves in the foot by losing the Valley and using the Pine Bluff, right? We would have been in a way better position getting in this tournament if we were sitting at 7-8 right now, which is where we should have been. As a matter of fact, if we were 7-8, we would have been an 8 spot, right? Because we'd been in a spot where Alabama A&M is, because we had that tiebreaker. And then have a chance to even creep higher, right? Because we still have Jackson State, we still have Alcorn, and then we also got Texas Southern at the end of the year, right? So you would have a chance also to even get into that middle of the pack, if you can knock off and win some of those games. But at the end of the day, man, this team did not get the job done, right? So obviously lost by 13 to Arkansas Pine Bluff, 72-59. Then a big one, man, 57-51 against Mississippi Valley, only putting up 51 points. I mean, only putting up 51 points against Mississippi Valley. Can you imagine us playing the University of Houston with that lockdown defense that they have? And we only put up 51 against a Valley. Man, it would not be pretty, right? And so at the end of the day, listen, I mean, we just dropped. And G says, man, I can't remember the last time we missed the tournament. You know what I mean? Yeah, man, listen. Lost to Valley and they put it on ESPN. And so, man, listen, with that being said, I want to ask you guys, and again, just to let everybody know, listen, the call lines are open. This is really the time I want to hear from you. You know, if you have a thought process or opinion about this, I really want to hear your thoughts and your opinions about this decline, right? And I'm gonna blow this up, right? So you guys can see. And again, that call-in number 346-248-7799, 346-248-7799, right? Call line is open. You guys can go ahead and hit me up because I really want to hear your thought process regarding the men's program. What's going on? What's wrong with the men's program? What could fix the men's program? What's the issue, right? So again, the call line is open, 346-248-7799. But listen, if you're talking about a coach that you have, and in 8 years, he wins 3 championships, that's not bad at all. Like that's pretty good. I would say that's real good, right? If you talk about in 8 years to win 3 championships, I don't think that's bad at all. What's going on, Edwin? But when you look at where we are now, it's clear that we have been declining when you talk about the men's basketball program. And this goes all the way back to the 2020-2021 season. Hear me out, right? Because with this profile overall, you would think and say, listen, Coach Smith is moving toward the hot seat, but is he on the hot seat right now? And in my mind, he was not on the hot seat at the beginning of this year, but I think right now, today, the seat is definitely hot. Now, the reality is from what I've heard, he has 2 years left on his contract. And at the end of the day, you're probably not going to be buying out his contract. You know, that just is what it is. So he probably just got 2 years left. But the question is, can he build the program? Can he build the program and get back to where he was when you talk about 3-4 years ago? Because listen, came out the gate, and I'm not even going to look at the first year, right? Because he took over for the previous coach that left, right? When Rem left out. 13-20, 10-6 in conference. 17-18, he was 16-18, 12-6 in conference. Then he went 23-13 and won the conference 17-1 and won the tournament, right? So won a regular season championship and the tournament. The next year went 19-13, 14-4 in conference. Won the regular season. There was no postseason tournament. After that, he went 14-4, but 13-0 in conference. Tied for first, but lost the tournament. And lost the tournament bad to Texas Southern in that championship game by 19 points, right? And that was the beginning of the decline. That was the height and then the beginning of the decline. In 2021-22, went 8-19, 8-10. No out-of-conference wins, right? And 8-10, finished 8th that year, lost in the first round of the tournament. Last year was 13-19, 9-9, finished 6th in the conference. lost in the first round. Right now, both of those first round losses was by like 1 point and then 2 points. But at the end of the day, he lost in the first round. Right. This year, 10-16. Now 5-10 in conference, not 5-8, 5-10 in conference. So you're gonna finish with another losing record, and you're probably gonna finish with a record that's worse than 8-10, and no tournament appearance. And so, listen, there's enough there, because if you tell me after 3 years he wins that first championship in 2018, 2019, then the next year he doesn't win a championship. And then the year after that, he wins another regular season title. Then he has 2 years, say 2021, 2022, and then 2022, 23 doesn't win a championship. And then this year he wins a championship. Like, this whole conversation is completely different. I think it's a completely different conversation. Because the number of championships is like, man, listen, 3 championships in 8 years. Hey, this is a championship winning coach. We coming off a championship, or we coming up with a championship a year, 2 years ago. You know, that's going to be different. But now we're talking about 3 to 4 years ago, and listen, we're moving. All we are looking at now is seeing that farther and farther in the rearview mirror. It's just getting farther and farther and farther in the rearview mirror. And the question is, can he build this program back to where it was in those 3 years? And to me, from what I see, what I think is, when the portal open up, Coach Smith looks in the portal, he grabs out the portal, and he just throws the portal to the wall, and he sees what sticks. That's to me, that's what's been happening these last couple of years. And so he really isn't building a program. But what you see from the years doing these championship years is you see guys who were there 2 and 3 years. You saw guys who had a chance to matriculate and build their skill and build camaraderie so that you can have this continuity here with this team. And listen, that's big. At the end of the day, even John Calipari, who at one time, was just getting guys who was just, skill level amazing and putting them together. But listen, it takes time for teams to gel. And that philosophy at the end of the day is not a championship philosophy. So to me, at the end of the day, that seat got to be hot now, because the direction we're moving in is completely backwards. Like, I don't know if it's backwards, but like them championships in the rearview mirror, and we can't see them no more. We just see it's like faded away in the mountain. It's like when the mountain's there and it start to get gray because it's getting so far away. That's what it looks like right now. Like, it's almost completely out of view. It's almost completely out of view. So let me see. And again, right, call in number 346-248-7799. Edwin says, man, a couple of scores, which he has lost in the portal at least a couple times. Yeah, listen, Gabriel was big loss, right? You know what I'm saying? But again, man, you have nobody that you brought in that you say, hey, man, this guy is here. I see the potential here, and we're going to build with him over time. Last year, from last year to this year, you have literally 2 completely different teams. You almost don't notice any of the names. And the reality is, none of the holdovers, really only one of the holdovers, Nunley, sees any type of action, right? McKinley really doesn't see action at all, right? It's no continuity. Said the issue having is recruiting. It's making it hard for him with the NIL. Well, listen, we got to find somebody who can recruit then. But again, if you're only going out and getting guys in the portal, and you're only getting guys who have a year left, at the most 2 years left, and that's what you're going to build your program on, then you really got to get guys that can come in. And listen, with this year's team, the reality is, in this year and the last year, when you look at the height of the team, and he's not ever been a guy, Smith has never recruited, skyscrapers, right? We all know that. But if you look at the height of the team just across the board, this team this year really only has one guy over 6'6" that gets any major burn, and that's Brian Miles. He's the only guy over 6'6" that gets major burn. And so the load of protecting the paint, the load of rebounding, falls on him, which is why he's averaging crazy amounts of minutes, right? You know what I'm saying? 35 plus. Because, or whatever the number is, right? Because he has to be on the floor. He cannot be off the floor. He has to be on the floor. And your second leading rebounder is your 6-foot guard. And so when you talk about this team and how they set up, and even just look at what he has recruited, I mean, the height differential from the championship teams to the teams now is completely different, right? I mean, talking about having multiple guys over 6'6", 6'6" are taller, right? 6'8" guys, 6'7" guys, right? And again, not like you got 6'10s and 6'11s, right? But you got guys who have some height, who have some strength, who can bang. And on this team this year and on last year's team, you just don't see that at all, right? But then you multiply that with the fact that you got guys who don't have the height, but they also aren't great shooters from the outside, which is just completely killed everything, because you got guys who are only slashers. The only real pure shooter that you got is Lane, right? Charles Lane. You know what I'm saying? That's the only pure shooter you have. Smith is okay. He's streaky, more of a mid-range shooter, right? But you really don't have anybody who is consistent from the outside. And listen, from second game of the season, I was like, listen, these guys, they're gonna have a hard time scoring from the outside. I've been saying it all year, right? At the end of the day, if you can't score consistently from the outside, if you don't make teams come out and guard you, listen, everybody gonna sit back in the zone, which is what most teams have done to us, right? And they're gonna make us beat them from the outside, right? And we're gonna continue to try to get to the goal. Right now, we have some guys like Javonte Hopkins, who's super athletic, right? And so he's able to really get his because of his athleticism, right? But you have a lot of guys on this team that don't have the height to bang down low, but also don't have the ability to shoot from the outside. And listen, it's just going to continue to kill us. Isaiah says, we haven't been the same since Bussy went to Alcorn. That's a fact, right? That's a fact. Say he's lost the locker room. CG Boom says, don't think the NIL is a problem in competing with SWAC schools, since all the schools do not have NIL. Yeah, I definitely don't. It's not something I'm blaming on NIL at all. Like, I don't think that's the reason at all. You look at other schools, they've been able to get guys in, and they've been able to bring guys in with height. Grambling has been able to bring guys in with height. FAMU been able to bring guys in with height. So the issue is not, I mean, this is a philosophy that Smith has, right? His philosophy he preaches, right, is defense, but you can see consistently that we have trouble scoring in the half court. We've had trouble all year scoring in the half court. And so if you don't have guys who can get a bucket, if you don't have the ability to draw up a play and get a bucket in time, and one of the biggest issues too that I saw also is I've always felt like we didn't have, early in the year, I definitely felt a lot more like we really don't have that guy to go to. We don't have that go-to guy that we say, this is who we're going to put the ball in their hands to go get a bucket when we really need a bucket. Because I love Charles Smith, but he's not the greatest ball handler, right? And so he's not really the greatest guy to isolate one-on-one and go get a bucket at the end of the game. And I'm like, man, I really feel like we should lean on, Lane a little bit more and actually run the offense through him and through Brian Miles. I think that would be a little bit better and allow Smith and Hopkins to work off of them. That's my thought process. But at the end of the day, when you talk about if you start naming other teams, man, you think of a guy, right? You know what I'm saying? You think of a guy when you think of Southern. You think of a guy when you think of Alabama State. So you know who they're gonna put the ball in this guy's hand to go get the job done and to go close this game. And we don't have that guy, right? But listen, that's a part of putting a team together and building a program. Who are you building a program around when you talk about from the offensive side of things, right? At the end of the day, you can't win without putting balls in the bucket. All right. So we can't be expected to compete with one guy over 6'5". So yeah, so that's another thing, right? We're always consistently out rebounded. The fact that we haven't been out rebounded more than we have is actually, you know what I'm saying, a testament to what Miles has done. Period. You know what I'm saying? And he has definitely been the main guy that has put in work and the stats tell it, right? Because I mean, he's had over 10 double-doubles, right? During the SWAC conference play. He's leading the SWAC in rebounding, right? Like, because that's your job. Like, and no one else can do your job. No one else can do your job. So, you know, he's had to really put in that work, and he's had an excellent year. And he's definitely going to be getting some all SWAC nods and nominations because of that, for sure. Said Bussy was only his staff for 2 of those years. Bussy moved over from the women's coaching staff. Gotcha. All right. Said he produced results. And Boom says, yeah, we don't have any pure outside shooters. And Kerry saying, hey, listen, outside shooting and toughness has hurt us this year. Yeah, so listen, all I'm saying is at the end of the day, we don't have height and don't got shooting. If you don't have height, you got to have shooting. Like, that's my thing, right? Like, if you're not going to be a good shooting team, like, you need to be able to dump the ball in and be able to get a bucket. But we don't have that ability, right? And so I always knew it was going to be tough for us. But listen, that didn't mean that we should have lost to Mississippi Valley, neither to Arkansas Pine Bluff. But, you know, I always knew it was going to be tough for us. And we talk about teams like Grambling, like Southern, and obviously, listen, Texas Southern is a tournament team, and they've been that for years. They continue to get better toward the end of the year. So they're always scary when you talk about getting the SWAC conference play and then talk about getting into the tournament. So it's still going to be really exciting to see what happens in the SWAC when you talk about men's basketball. But right now, we're on a sharp decline. And, man, if Coach Smith doesn't get it together and figure something out soon and very soon, like I say, 2 years left on his contract. So I don't see, you know, AD Goff in the athletic department buying him out before the 2 years. I can't see us just like blowing money like that. Especially, you know, I mean, like I say, listen, if you redistribute the championships he's won, this is a completely different conversation. It's a completely different conversation if it's 2 years championship, 2 years championship, 1 year championship. It's a completely different conversation, right? But 3 championships 4 years ago, nah, it's not going to cut it. It's not going to cut it. We're moving in the wrong direction. So with that being said, man, I appreciate you guys for jumping on. Again, if anybody has any thoughts, if you want to call in, 346-248-7799, 346-248-7799 before we get out of here. And again, I want to remind you guys, obviously, listen, if you haven't subscribed to the channel, make sure you go ahead and subscribe to the channel, man. Let us know, man. Let us know how let us know, man, about the channel. Let them know about PV Nation. Let them know what we're doing. Let them know what we're building over here. Because listen, we're trying to really get it in. We're trying to really get it done and represent for PV Nation. I also want to shout out, man. Listen, Blitz City podcast, Kobe. Big shout out to him for doing the player profile on Shamar Savage earlier today that he dropped. I always appreciate when, you know, anybody, man, and big up and shouts out any Prairie View student athlete. And so that's super big because at the end of the day, man, we got guys who need to be uplifted and shouted out. And Shamar Savage, listen, Megatron Jr., that's what I call him, Megatron Jr. He really is that guy. And I think last year, the numbers didn't equal to what ability I believe he has, right? Because body-wise, size, man, he has NFL potential. Like, he attacks the ball. He goes and gets the ball right. He can make catches in traffic and coverage. He can toss a little DBs off of him. So, like, he really has the potential to really be that guy, that dude, man. And so super shout out to Kobe, man, for for, like I say, man, doing that profile on him a little bit earlier today. So if you hadn't checked it out, make sure you go over to Blitz City Podcast and check that out and big that up, man. We need to see more stuff for PV Nation, more stuff from us and about us, right? And so I appreciate everybody that does that. And listen, I want to remind everybody again, next week, man, March 5th, we got the interview with the one and only new OC. You know what I'm saying? Coach Anthony Weeden, man. So make sure you're locked in with us. Make sure you hit that notification bell. Again, when that video comes up and share it out to you. Make sure you hit that notification bell, man, so you can be you'll know and be aware when it comes live, man. You can jump on, bring all your questions, man, about the chaos offense that he's going to be bringing over from Campbell, where he was the OC for the last 2 years. And at the end of the day, man, I think that's going to be something exciting. And listen, that's something that really the rest of the conference needs to be aware of, because that's gonna be major for us. And yeah, man, that's really the question. You know what I'm saying? That's really gonna be the question. Do we have the QB that's gonna get in the ball? And in the day, do we have a scheme that's gonna get him the ball? Right. This is somebody who last year I can remember 3 plays vividly where we threw him screens. Right. So you're talking about 20 catches last year. 3 of them was on screen passes specifically that I remember. Right. And in those 3 passes, he went and got 10 yards, right, on each of those passes off a screen pass, right? And not 10 yards because he was just wide open, nobody touched him. No, because he ran through some people and dragged some people. And so the fact that we didn't get the guy the ball more is crazy. That's crazy, right? So also the scheme is going to be big too. That's basically what I'm trying to say. And I know next week, when we talk to Coach Weeden, right, we can bring those questions, talk about, some of those things, because at the end of the day, he's a guy who really should have touched the ball way more than he did. And so having a weapon like that, I know he's going to come in and be able to get that, be able to use him and, be able to use some of these running backs that we have out the backfield, right? Be able to use like we always talked about it last year, right? The short passing game in order to extend the running game. So, a lot of these things you see, man, I really would, tell you guys, man, check out some of the Campbell, some of the offensive plays for Campbell last year, right? The year before, 2022, 2023. Just check out some of the highlights of some of the games they had, man, and see kind of the different formations. You're not really going to get the full, feeling of the chaos offense, right, that he's going to be bringing just by watching those highlights. Because if you watch a full game, man, you will see they're in and out. Like, it's no huddle. And it's like, man, play gets in and we to the line and we ready to go. And you talking about really, I watched the game, I think, against North Carolina A&T. They played, and I also watched the game against Jackson State. Like, listen, they get up and they get gone. Like, you're talking about between 10 and 15 seconds. Like, after, listen, players on the ground, from the time he's on the ground, they mark him down and he's back up. They look into the sideline. Within 8 seconds, they back to where they need to be. And by between 12 and 15 seconds, the ball is hiked and another player is run, right? So, listen, when you talk about, again, that type of pace, right? One, you talk about, completely different athlete than maybe you have at other places, right? Because you're looking for people who are going to really be able to stay on the field, who got that stamina to keep it going. And you think about guys who are smart enough, right, to be able to understand, your terminology, to be able to understand and relate to play calls, right, be in the right position. Because listen, you got a receiver, run the wrong route. You're talking about pick six to the other way. So, anyway, I'm just saying all to say, man, scheme is going to be a big thing. Quarterback wise, obviously we got Jaden Johnson, who came in last year, right? Didn't play last year, but this year he should be ready to go, right? And so that's going to be good. Brought Cam Peters in, obviously, from Kilgore College. He was at UTSA before, and got Deuce Barrington coming in from Fulshire as a freshman. So listen, we're bringing in 3 QBs, 2 QBs, and one guy who was on the team but didn't have a chance to get on the field last year, right? So really, is 3 new guys basically, right? And so the quarterback competition, even starting off in the spring, is going to be great. Like, it's going to be great. Like, I can't wait till spring practice starts. I'm super excited about it, right? And just see and hear the momentum and see the build up for it. Because at the end of the day, man, I know there's going to be a battle. Like, it's going to be a battle. And when you have the ability to have a battle at every position, it just makes everybody better. And so super excited to see the quarterback battle that's going to be coming in. Obviously, you got to get a nod to Jaden and Cam as the guys who have experience, right? Jaden was at Kahoma College, right, before, coming from that JUCO. You also had Cam, right, who was at UTSA and then at Kilgore College, right, who've been on the field on the collegiate level. And so obviously those 2 guys are coming in with the leg up over Deuce, who's coming in as a freshman. But at the end of the day, period, right, you got to get on the field, you got to compete. And that's what I love. And I love the fact that we got a new OC coming in. And so, listen, he's coming in with a new vision. He's coming in and everybody got a clean slate and everybody just going to start at the ground floor. There's no incumbent. There's nobody who's like, hey, this is that guy who was here last year and it's his job to lose, or, he's the number 1 guy. Ain't none of that. It's like, we're going to put everybody in the field. We're going to let you compete. We're going to let the best man win, right? And so I think that's going to be great because the best guy going to get on the field. And that's all that we want at the end of the day. It's for the best guy to get on the field. So anyway, man, appreciate you guys. If nobody else want to call in, 346-248-7799. Y'all want to use my call-in line, man. You know what I'm saying? I'm trying to get my call-in line straight, but it's okay. All right, it's okay. One day, I believe, I have a dream. That one day, you know what I'm saying, Panthers in Houston and Panthers in Dallas and Panthers in San Antonio and California and on the East Coast, that they'll be able to call in and we'll be able to talk on the show. One day. I got a dream. But that dream will have to come to reality another day because I'm going to holler at y'all. All right. Talk to y'all later.